All right, I think I got this working now. All right, the watch list for Tuesday. Um, I didn't want to start with this one. Let me start with PEIX because I already have them in a certain order. PEIX, we actually traded this as a gap play on this very day back here and had a really big trade in it. And look at it since kind of come back in and gone sideways and starting to head back up. So there's not a lot in between today's close or today's high 1150, closed at 1143, so closed almost at the high. Not a lot in the way between that and then this push up through 12 here. So I want to watch PEIX for a potential long over today's high. XON, put in a green day today. I had it on Bounce Watch. I never did get a trade in it today. Never really gave me any kind of a clean setup, or if it did, it wasn't when I was watching it. But I think it might continue that bounce tomorrow, so I just want to keep that one on watch as a potential long. ATHM, it's a pretty handsome chart here. You've got a nice longer-term trend line that it kind of broke above today, and I also drew a kind of a shorter-term trend line just above that from the last, month or so that it kind of broke above today. It is 3 or 4 days, about 3 days higher in a row. But it's interesting up, back through 46 with some volume. This lower high, from here, you have a lower high here of 46.24. So I like this, back through 46 sometime tomorrow, knowing that 46.25 is another possible catalyst. And this one, I looked it up, ton of shorts and low float. Let me try to find it real quick for you here. ATHM. Assuming FinViz is right, 62% of the float is short and only 8.5 million in the float. So this one has nice potential to squeeze. So keep your eyes on ATHM. Okay, SFUN. Another one. This one gapped up. I can't remember if this was on earnings or news or what, but about a week ago it gapped up, put in a high of 664, pulled in, and then today a nice little pop. And today's high, I'm a big fan of stacked catalysts, and so today's high was 655. So over that, it might push through that 664 and maybe get going. All right. One thing I like about this, it was strong in the morning, but then spent like 3-4 hours consolidating, which, stocks, they either pull back through price or they consolidate through time or sometimes both. So I like the fact that this is kind of flagging all afternoon. There it is on 15s, and then you can see the pop from about a week ago. So I do like this. If you want to put some numbers down, 656 would be a break of today's high, 665 a break of last week's high. I'm going to write those down real quick. Okay, so that one's interesting. DDD, triple D. Nice pop today. 3D printer company closed at its highs. If you don't think in this lower volume trading that we're in right now in between earnings season, if you don't think the HFTs are just having their way with these lower volume days, here's a good example. Okay, look at this. This is probably like 5 minutes before the close. DDD strong all day, and then sellers come in. Would you have ever expected this to end up closing at the high of the day? Boom, last candle, just like that. So and I've seen a lot of what I call squinkiness out there. This is a pretty good example. I was pointing out to the chat room the strength of DDD, and then I'll talk about another 3D stock real quick here, which I'm going to watch tomorrow. But that is some kind of, I don't know what the word is, but be careful out there in this lower volume trading, because that was kind of nasty. But if this one continues, and it is above probably 3-4 weeks worth of trading, closing at its highs there, VJET, you look for the secondary plays. VJET had earnings, another 3D printer company. All right, it had earnings, I believe, about 5-6 sessions ago, sold off and then found support, and now it's starting to head higher again. So if you go to the intraday, you have another one where it popped up early and then straight sideways for the next several hours. So you've got a decent consolidation here. I like it over 850 tomorrow. This one might want to come up and retest 9 or even maybe get through it. So I like VJET if DDD continues tomorrow. And you can also watch DDD for a potential intraday setup. XONE is another one that's got decent support below. So if the 3D stocks get going, XONE also worth looking at, and that has some interesting numbers if I remember correctly. I'll look on FinViz for this one. Looks like 8.6 million in the float and 41% short. That's XONE. So that one is also interesting if Triple D gets going. I don't have any numbers on VJET. So there you go. I like put XONE in your notes too. I didn't have that one, but I'm going to add it right now. XONE. All right. GENE. I had this on Bounce Watch today. Never gave any kind of an entry. But it goes back on Bounce Watch for tomorrow. Again, you had a nice pop here. This thing ran from whatever it was, $1.50 to 11, and then just sold off, and finally got a decent pop on volume, 20 million shares the second day of the pop. And now you're down 3 or 4 days lower. Good time to start watching that for a bounce again. Never gave an entry today, which is fine. We'll just put it back on watch tomorrow. RADA down to support, like I talked about. I never did trade this one today, but a nice little, kind of a little bottoming tail. Off support again. So this one, after this big pop, is in a very clearly defined range and now is at the bottom of the range. I want to watch this for a potential long trade on Tuesday. So I like the looks of that one. GBSN, really big move here from 2 to almost 550. Now you're 2 days lower, getting close to the 8 day. That one goes on Bounce Watch too. And lastly, TXMD. I don't know. This one had a nice pop here, sold off, and then today I never got a trade. It was on watch today. I never got a trade in it. And then you notice it never broke its early high. These are 5-minute candles. You got a lower high still. So this one is still valid in my opinion. That's worth watching for another move higher. Preferably with an afternoon high of day break, something like that. I'll give all my focus to some gap plays in the morning, and I will also be watching everything I just showed you. And that is about it. I'm keeping my list a little bit more manageable today. So we will talk to you guys tomorrow night. All right, have a good night.